my name is Alvina.
Hello, my name is Nabila.
And hello, my name is Sherla.
We are from Group 2, and in this video, we'll be presenting our PowerPoint presentation for our final exam project on Introduction to Tourism and Hospitality with Ma'am Diena as our lecturer.
And so for our group topic is about the impact of tourism development to Bali.
Hopefully, in this video, we can share more information about the impacts of tourism in Bali thoroughly. So, let's begin.
Tourism. So, what is tourism? Tourism is the temporary movement of people to places outside their usual environment for leisure, business, or other purposes. Tourism consists of 4 basic components, also known as the 4 A's of tourism. These components are attractions, amenities, accessibility, and ancillary services.
Tourism is inextricably linked to the province of Bali. On the island of the gods, tourism influences every aspect of people's life. The tourism industry is extremely important to Bali's economy since it accounts for over 52% of the economic activity there. Bali spans around 5,780 square kilometers, comprising 0.29% of Indonesia's total land area. In 2019, it had a population of 4.33 million people. The largest city, as well as the capital of Bali, Denpasar, is located in the south of the island. Bali, together with West Nusa Tenggara and East Nusa Tenggara, were part of the Lesser Sunda province at the time of independence. However, on August 14, 1958, the province of Bali was formed for the first time under Law No. 64 of 1958, which established the Level 1 regions of Bali, West Nusa Tenggara, and East Nusa Tenggara. Singaraja was the capital at the time, but it was moved to Denpasar city in 1960. Singaraja and Denpasar are the 2 major towns in Bali. Others include Klungkung, which is a center for wood carving and gold and silver industries, Gianyar, where the bustling market is situated, Kuta, Sanur, and Nusa Dua, which are the tourist hotspots, and Ubud, located in the foothills, which is a heart for European and American artists with a fine art museum. Every Balinese community has a temple and an assembly hall, which is usually positioned on a square where festivals and markets take place. And lastly, each family has their own compound with mud or stone walls around it.
Attractions in Bali. So attractions are the places, people, events, and things that make up the objects of the tourist gaze and attract tourists to destinations, and also to provide them an initial motivation to visit the area. So Bali is very famous with the beauty of the beach. So the beaches are one of Bali's most well-known and beautiful tourist attractions. So in this slide, for example, it is the Kuta Beach, which is a very famous tourist attraction. It has a clean white sand and a few large color stones, which is the main attractions for tourists. This beach also has a good waves for surfing activities. And in the afternoon, when the sun is starting to set, Kuta presents a very beautiful view. Many tourists sit on the beach edge to watch the sunset, making the area around Kuta Beach crowded. Next, there are also other popular beaches in Bali such as Seminyak Beach, Echo Beach, Kuta Beach, Nusa Dua, Sanur, and Tanjung Benoa Beach. So the first one here is the Seminyak Beach. Seminyak Beach is a beautiful white sandy beach that stretches for 5 kilometers. Tourists can not only enjoy the white sand beach scenery, but they can also participate in culinary tours and shopping activities that are surrounded by bars, restaurants, and high-quality hotels. Next, we have the Echo Beach, which is the heart of Canggu, that is located north of Seminyak and is covered in black volcanic sand. Canggu's Echo Beach is popular for surfing because of its strong and high waves, making it one of the trendy spots in Bali. The cleanliness of Canggu's Echo Beach is very excellent. So the Echo Beach Bali activity is surfing, which is ideal for relaxing on the beach and watching the sunset, as well as culinary seafood dishes by the beach coastline. Opposed to Kuta Beach, there is the Nusa Dua Beach, which is a more private and less crowded beach. It is a slow-paced beach that is ideal for family vacations and honeymoons. The main appeal is the presence of beautiful scenery and clean beaches. Even Nusa Dua Beach in Bali is known as the cleanest beach on the island of the gods. Next, we also have Sanur Beach, which is located in the east part of Denpasar town. It is located in the southeast of the island, and it is a beautiful white sandy beach with calm and warm seawater. It has a long stretch of beach with shallow waters. The waves are calm, and swimming is possible. When walking on the beach, you can see sea creatures such as starfish because the sea is so clear. And this beach is surrounded by numerous art galleries selling Balinese crafts, clothing, and accessories. So Sanur Beach is a beautiful panorama beach in Bali with a calm and warm atmosphere. Last, we have the Tanjung Benoa Beach, which is a lovely beach. It is situated at the southernmost tip of the Nusa Dua Peninsula. The waves on this beach are very calm and safe for water sports. There are glass-bottom boats on the beach for viewing the beauty of the seafloor from a boat, as well as jet skis for water sport activities. Therefore, the situation is somewhat crowded with tourists participating in water sports. There are some trees along the beach that provide shade, such as palm trees and coconut trees. So Tanjung Benoa is the ideal setting for a variety of sporting activities. So each beach actually has its own personality, making it unique and appealing to tourists from all over the world. This draws tourists to Bali's beautiful stretches of beach and coastal environments, which include a variety of marine tourism activities. There are numerous locations in Bali that provide a variety of recreational activities such as surfing, snorkeling, parasailing, dolphin watching, and sea walking. All of these marine-based leisure activities like performing arts and other forms of cultural attractions contribute to a variety of tourist attractions.
Amenities in Bali. Amenities are facilities and services that makes a tourist stay comfortable. It serves the needs of tourists while they are away from home. Bali has complete infrastructure and facilities. There are different types of amenities, but the largest sector would be accommodation. Supporting facilities and infrastructures such as hotels, restaurants, cafes, villas, homestays, guest houses, studios, swimming pools, souvenir shops, and physical facilities are also extremely important in tourism activities. Accommodations in Bali. Bali offers a wide range of accommodations. There are many hotels of various classes and star hotels with international standard facilities in tourist areas such as Kuta. Many tourists choose to stay in this area before traveling to other tourist destinations in Bali because it is densely packed with excellent accommodations ranging from more budget-friendly ones like hostels to luxurious resorts. In general, Bali is very affordable, with accommodations costing around only 1 million rupiah per night on average. These are some examples of accommodations that you can find in Bali, and in fact, these are the three most popular ones: hotels, villas, and resorts.
Accessibility. So accessibility here means that accessible tourism enables all people to participate in and enjoy tourism experiences because it is made accessible to them. So it is to ensure tourist destinations, products, and services are accessible to all people regardless of their physical or intellectual limitations, disabilities, or age. In the world of tourism activities, accessibility is everything. In the tourism industry, all modes of transportations or transportation services have become critical access points. This access is associated with transferability, that is, the ease with which one can move from one area to another. If an area lacks of good accessibility, such as airports, ports, and highways, there will be no tourists, which will have a negative impact on the area's accessibility development. If a location has tourism potential, it must be accessible enough for people to visit. So there are several forms of transportation to explore in Bali. The first one would be the travel via air is the most convenient and fastest way to reach Bali, especially since majority of tourists are the foreigners. So tourists will arrive at the Ngurah Rai International Airport located in the Kuta. It is only 13 kilometers away from the Bali's capital, which is the Denpasar. The next option would be by ship. First, tourists will need to fly from either Singapore, Sumatra, or Java. Afterwards, they can take a ship and head towards Bali. The last one is by road, which is more frequent for the locals. They can either take a bus or drive themselves, and the road trip will take around a full day without a rest stops. And also, there are several forms of transportation to explore in Bali, such as the bemo, taxi, car, motorcycle, or even bicycle.
Ancillary services refer to organizations that do not play a direct but supporting role in the tourism industry. These are the extras that a tourist may need when traveling to make their experience safer and more enjoyable. There are numerous ancillary services available in Bali, with a few being more common. As the majority of tourists are from abroad, plenty of authorized money changers can be found around Bali. Foreigners prefer to exchange their money to Bali's local currency to avoid the additional fees charged when using a card for payment. Another popular service is the airport transfer in Bali. This service escorts tourists from the airport to their hotels for a stress-free arrival. The best way to explore Bali is by renting a car and hiring a driver. Thus, a car rental company or service such as Bali Midori can be found in tourist spots like Kuta and Seminyak. Despite the convenience tourists have with a driver, some still prefer to explore Bali on their own. With the different road system in Indonesia and other countries, tourists often get into a car or motorbike accident. For this reason, although not mandatory, a number of tourists would pay for a travel insurance service when visiting Bali in case of unexpected incidents while on the trip. These are just some examples of services that makes trip to Bali feel more complete. These services are usually provided by travel companies but are now available in airports, hotels, and travel platforms online.
Tourism impact on the economic, socio-cultural, and environmental sectors. The first one we're going to discuss is the impact of tourism on the economy. Tourism can impact the economic sector both positively and negatively. Bali relies heavily on tourism, and it is estimated that tourism contributes to a total of approximately 80% to the local economy. The booming tourism industry in Bali promotes economic growth, and there are a couple of ways the society can benefit from this. The first one is the increase in foreign exchange revenue, as majority of tourists are foreigners, and thus the conversion to the local currency brings in money. Bali's growing tourism industry also provides people millions of jobs, as places like attractions and accommodations generates a lot of employment opportunities. And with the greater number of jobs available, poverty in Bali will also decrease. As income of people increases, there will be an increase in tax revenues as more tax are being paid to the government. Aside from tax revenues, percentage of tourism contribution to Indonesia's total GDP also increases. The increase in tax revenues helps build better facilities and infrastructures for both locals and non-locals. And the last one, tourism will also benefit those indirectly linked to the tourism industry, such as food suppliers to restaurants or hotels. Despite the advantages Bali's tourism bring to its local economy, it can likewise affect an economy adversely. One of them is the increase in prices of goods. This can be disadvantageous towards the locals as more travelers implies more supplies such as food, water, electricity, and gas supply. And in fact, Bali is currently experiencing a shortage of water. There is also a necessity to import goods from abroad to meet the demands of tourists. The reason for imported goods is due to the unmapped standards, since local communities do not produce products and market them for the benefit of tourism. Bali's tourism causes an economic leakage. Economic leakage happens when the money generated by tourism is lost to the companies instead of going to the local community. This benefits business owners, which are often foreigners. And all in all, the over-dependence on tourism will only harm Bali, especially in the long run.
Next, we will be discussing about the socio-cultural impact. So the first one here, we have the positive impacts. One of the socio-cultural impact of tourism development in Bali is that Bali has been introducing many Balinese artworks. Many of the cinemata are handcrafted, which is appealing to tourists. This is undoubtedly a large turnover and profit for the Bali economy. Souvenirs made with one-of-a-kind materials that can only be found in Bali. Clothes, paintings, keychains, hats, tattoos, and much more are on display. The tourism industry on Bali's island has had an impact on introducing local cultures such as art, dance, clothing, and Balinese cultural objects. Many local cultures are in high demand and enjoyed by tourists, demonstrating that Balinese culture and arts are well known throughout the world. Bali's culture and arts have a lot to offer Indonesian tourism in the future. The fact that Indonesia has such a diverse range of arts and cultures is a magnificent splendor. This must be guarded and be protected. By donating and recognizing all cultural artworks that are not recognized by other countries, because this is a state asset that will be passed down to future generations. Next, we have the cross-cultural exchange. It is a cultural exchange between tourists and local community in order for tourists to understand and recognize the culture and values of the community's traditions. This is evidenced by policies or customary rules issued by tourism management in managing tourist areas so that tourism activities can be properly controlled. Tourists are required to wear traditional Balinese clothing when visiting various tourist attractions. The opportunity for artists is one of the benefits of tourism socio-cultural impacts in Bali. Both dance, artists, sculptures, paintings, and other will be used to introduce the result to the rest of the world via foreign tourists. Of course, the work of a beautiful and stunning artist will be much preferred by many people, especially in today's increasingly sophisticated world of technology. It is admirable that it has opened the eyes of the world to the culture and art of Bali, and it should be recognized as an international work. New things with a positive impact will help Bali become more modern, innovative, developed, and advanced in the future. Next, we have the negative impacts in the social-cultural aspect. The negative impacts on the social-cultural sector is the overcrowding and loss of amenities for residents due to overcrowding and too many tourists, resulting in a loss of comfort for residents. This is the result of a party wanting an increase in tourist visits in order to create a tourist area that is bustling and crowded with various activities. The second one is destroying Balinese social-cultural communication. The vast majority of tourists who visit Bali treat it as their own, paying no attention to the Balinese way of life. Balinese behavior has changed as many efforts to try to imitate the behavior of tourists. This can also lead to a social conflict if one segment of society wants to preserve local traditions and values while the other wants to please tourists. And due to the overabundance of tourists, there is social inequality and jealousy. It widens the chaps between different cultures in communities. Tourism creates a slew of new groups and subgroups, complicating the nature of the conflict and causing disruptions and turbulences in the social structure. Locals see it as a difference because of the differences in social, economic, and cultural perspective, and it is increasingly generating various levels of social life. The cultural impacts are the result of commercializing culture as a tourist attraction and presenting it as a desired tourist attraction without realizing the culture and its surrounding are changing. This can be seen in the various changes to Bali's tourist attractions, such as architectural styles, shapes, and size, materials, and building functions. As a result, the historical value of the cultural heritage owned diminishes as its existence worsens. So, social problems arise as a result of a negative culture caused by tourism. One of which is culture. A changing society tends to be more money-oriented, making money out of their culture. As a result, people nowadays regard their culture as a source of income rather than a legacy, and people tend to behave consumptive in order to purchase any goods.
Bali has various types of tourist attractions to offer, causing it to suffer from over-tourism. With excessive number of tourists, Bali is threatened with environmental issues such as pollution and freshwater scarcity. There are different forms of pollution Bali experiences. These include air, noise, land, and water pollution. Bali is also currently encountering a water shortage, which is caused by the excessive demand in water it cannot supply to the growing tourism industry. Transportation of tourists in Bali contributes to significant air and sound pollution. Transportation mainly by car and air is responsible for majority of the tourism industry's contribution to greenhouse gas emission and is linked to acid rain. Moreover, transportation also produces a lot of noise, which can be a problem to the public. It gets people annoyed, stressed out, and causes distress to wildlife. The amount of waste produced by the increased number of tourists end up polluting lands and water. It is recorded that 3,800 tons of rubbish are produced daily. However, only 60% of these end up in landfills, while the remaining is retained in the environment, dumped into water bodies, or incinerated. Aside from waste production, tourists throwing out trash irresponsibly is another huge problem that impacts the environment negatively. Plastic waste from mismanaged waste and littering covers beaches like Kuta and Lagian every day. Aside from making the area less attractive, this is also harmful to the marine life. Water pollution, with the largest factor being plastic, can bring serious damage to aquatic animals as it raises the volume of toxicity in water. Tourism does not positively impact an environment directly, but rather indirectly through preservation and protection efforts. Money generated from tourism can be used to protect natural landscapes such as beaches in Bali that are rich in biodiversity. It is a way to raise awareness on the importance of environment and help boost conservation practices. Environment is one of the main reasons why a tourist travel. Therefore, people should care about the environment and take part in maintaining the area so it is kept clean to receive lots of tourists.
Future of tourism. It is predicted by the International Air Transport Association that the travel industry would take until 2024 to recover. According to Indonesia's new Tourism and Creative Economy Minister, the future of tourism on the island will be oriented towards revitalizing and developing other regions, seemingly shifting the focus away from the comparably more developed south of Bali. Bali's tourism stakeholders must choose between quality tourism, sustainability, quantity development, and mass tourism. It is highly likely that tourism in Bali will return to normal post-pandemic. The pandemic has become a reflection period for Balinese people to preserve their nature and culture that has been negatively impacted by tourism. Bali will start fresh and anticipate the return of visitors back to the island. Dozens of businesses under the tourism industry that is forced to close down because of the pandemic will also reopen once Bali starts to welcome international tourists. And with a cleaner environment, Bali will only attract tourists even more and remain as Indonesia's most popular holiday destination.
From the topics that have just been explained, it can be concluded that the development of tourism has both positive and negative economic, social, cultural, and environmental impact on a destination, in this case, Bali. The impact of the development of tourism in Bali on the economic, social, cultural, and environmental aspects are extremely beneficial to both the Balinese people and the tourist. The development of the tourism sector improves the quality of life and well-being, while also benefiting community needs. The development of the tourism sector also benefits government administration, particularly in terms of financing. Tourism has a positive impact on the environment indirectly through preservation and protection efforts. Environmental improvements as well as regional spatial planning and infrastructure are being made. The public awareness about the importance of the environment has also increased. The Balinese government is paying more attention to the restoration of historical sites and buildings in Bali, as well as the environmental management of tourism areas in order to maintain a clean environment. Tourism infrastructure development has a direct impact on Bali's water resources. Many tourism accommodations in Bali, such as hotels, villas, homestays, and much more, necessitate a large amount of water. This tourism facility typically makes use of groundwater resources. Exploiting groundwater resources will have a direct impact on the decline of Bali springs. Another effect is the construction of tourism facilities, which has damaged many agricultural irrigation systems in Bali. Poor agricultural production has a direct impact, and as a result, farmers suffer losses. Changes in land use, agriculture has become a more profitable means of supporting tourism, which is why many agricultural lands in Bali are changing function. Furthermore, the owned historical values and culture will be preserved. It will instill pride and self-esteem in a nation, as well as enrich the face of the environment and create a distinct identity, uniqueness, and character. Because of tourism, some of the spiritual significance of local cultural tradition ceremonies has been lost. Essentially, the people of Bali has become more money-oriented, making money out of their culture. Hence, people nowadays regard their culture as a source of income rather than a legacy. Locals believe that the tourism industry has grown too large for Bali, but because people understand how important tourism is to their economy, there has been no major conflicts among the people. As a result of modernization, younger generations are less motivated to uphold their traditions. The development of the tourism industry can aid in the preservation of Balinese culture because it is one of their main tourist destinations in the world, bringing both job opportunities and higher GDP. This can serve as a motivator for future generations to preserve culture. The writers discovered that the issue is not so much whether locals can preserve their culture, as it is how they can distinguish between commercialized tradition and what is authentic. Furthermore, the writers discovered that the locals are constantly striving to preserve their culture, but their real challenge is preserving what is authentically Balinese in a globalized and modernized world. The Tourism Development Program is a development program that has the potential to create more job opportunities and is used as the country's main source of foreign exchange for the tourism services to run smoothly. Economic considerations and tourism development should not be allowed to affect negative social and cultural consideration. As a result, economic and moral considerations must be used as the foundation for tourism development decisions. The COVID-19 pandemic has reignited interest in finding solutions to the problems associated with Bali's overdeveloped tourism industry. Waste and water management, overstressed infrastructure, and cultural deterioration are all real issues with clear links to the tourism industry. Bali, Indonesia's most visited island, has suffered from over-tourism in the last decade to the point where the government has proposed a $10 per person tax on all tourists. It is stated that the tax revenue would be used to fund programs that help to preserve the environment and local Balinese culture, ensuring the preservation of Balinese heritage.
So lastly is the recommendations. So the recommendations based on our findings about our paper, it is recommended that the development of tourism in Bali be maintained and improved by recommending that tourists should pay attention to the situation and environment of the destination and participate in maintaining and preserving the natural wealth and environment that exists in a place so that it is negatively affected by tourism development. Next, tourists must support local people and business in order to help the destination's economy. It is recommended to expand tourist business by doing innovative sales and marketing to involve more people to increase community income whose activities are directly or indirectly related to tourism services. It is also recommended to keep and maintain the beach environment as a tourism site attraction so that it continues to be beautiful and natural, as well to benefit people's through cooperation and community to clean the environment on a regular basis. Lastly, the government should encourage management to always provide the best service for tourists in terms of comfort and safety in Bali's attractions. So that's all for our presentation about the impact of tourism development to Bali. We hope you guys enjoyed watching our videos, and thank you for taking the time to watch our video. So have a nice day.